Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another SC Hub podcast. We have a breakdown. I'm joined by my co-host, SuperCoach Late Mail, as usual. Mate, how you doing?
Just going to put my hat on, because I'm going to be reattending my own funeral. We'll attend his Late Mail funeral this weekend, and it's just going from bad to worse. Last week we sat here, it was Mr. 33K. This week, Mr. 37K. I'm in free fall, baby. Kind of the opposite of Katy Perry in space, but that might be a topic of conversation for another week. Hoping that it all gets turned around this week, given I finally succumbed to bringing in the now 80% owned Ryan Papenhousen. How are you, Cheese?
No, not bad, mate. Hopefully for you, unlike Katy Perry, you're up there for a little longer. So, hopefully. Oh, not bad, mate. We've been blessed tonight. Youngster has got him a starting spot this week. Been caught up in the first grade, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, it's good to be on. Been slaving away in New South Wales Cup for a few years. Hoping I can do a Charlie Staines tonight. His debut, not his more recent work. But yeah,
he's been buying his time, doing the work in, and yeah, let's just hope there's no Lockie Galvin about him, eh? Let's hope he stays with us for a few years. But,
Youngster's really proven himself down at Lidcombe Oval, just like Lockie Galvin will for the next 6 months before he inevitably gets snatched up by Para.
Yeah, exactly. And we're fine if he gets snatched up, as long as it's not under Isaac Moses with his management. But Youngster, mate, kick us off. How'd you go last week?
I did all right. 13-16, which is a decent green, up 8K rents to just outside the top 4K now, after being about 25 a couple of weeks ago. So, yeah, pretty good position for the stage of the season, I think.
No, that's good, mate. It's nice seeing up there, especially coming up to that bye round. Obviously, Mr. 37K. What's happening, mate?
I'm asking the same questions. Where did it all go wrong? It was looking so good in September 2024. How do we get here in April 2025
I'm sure the Panthers are asking themselves that question as well.
Yeah. Copy the Penrith Panthers, mate. Yeah, five or six scores under 50, kind of looking like my under 12s cricket batting average. Traded in CY Wong. Yeah, actually, I was on fire there, mate. CY Wong traded him in. Pretty low base game for the forwards. That one on Friday night, he really impressed with a 42. Played Tamale, thought that Canberra would pump Para, which they did. It was really good to see the entire Canberra side score apart from Tamale, that's for sure. He really impressed the 29.
Yep.
And then your boy, Nicho Hynes. Just, obviously Tricky Trindle loves a touch. Not sure if anyone else in the SuperCoach community loves it when Tricky Trindle gets a touch. But Nicho didn't really mind just sitting back and letting him pull the strings once again, did he? So that was absolutely terrible to watch with a 38. But my main kind of moonshot last week was bringing in Scotty Drinkwater, also known as Scotty Fillwater. Why? Because he makes me feel something. I actually put the straight C on him, and he got hip dropped with the line wide open. Wasn't a penalty try. I logged off, and now I'm just checking my scores. So how'd you go, Chase?
Yeah, I feel you're playing with Drinkwater, man. I had him captain in my draft team, so yeah, I lost my draft because of
it was a great 78, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, so close. Should have been a penalty try. Yeah, no, look, my week was absolutely shocking, mate. I mean, Tamale stayed in my top team, so wasn't too great. I only dropped out by being Tamale by 4 points, so that was brilliant. Played both of them, and safe to say the Sharks game, not only because of Nico, but it got moved from the monitor to the phone screen because I went, Jesus Christ, I'm going to fall asleep. This is terrible. Will Kennedy is the best player in the game at the moment. That first Perth game was absolutely shocking.
Yeah, it was almost like they had to fly halfway across, the full way across the country to play in front of a stadium that was a third full. And the Premier, the WA Premier, wasn't even watching the game. He was in the box friggin' whining and dining with Gina Reinhardt or something. How good was that? They must have been
didn't even care. But every half an hour, you heard him go, I can't wait for a team. Mate, you can't wait to stop watching this shit. I cannot blame you. I could not blame you. You know, I thought my week started off bad, captaining Guffo, and we'll get into that. We will get into that. But, yeah, it just continually got worse. And I'm very thankful it was a weekend where, you know, I was quite busy and didn't really watch too many games because I think this app would have been deleted for the first time this year.
Yeah, that's the key, is staying busy. My dog, you know, because I've been taking him for so many walks, now has a 6-pack, given it's just been one of those years. We'll move on. We'll move on to round 7 or whatever the hell it is. And it just means we're 21 weeks closer to the pain stopping.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a long season, and I'm just hoping it's a lot less longer of these type of weeks. So, look, 4-day weekend, though, footy each day.
Fuck yeah, let's go.
You can't get worse than that, but yeah, it's going to be a shit 4-day weekend if you're getting 50s all week. So you're going to want to be back at work sooner than later. But look, boys, feels like we've had since Sunday. It feels like it's been a full week of news, and yet we're only
it's been pretty quiet.
Yeah, it's not much has happened. We've got a few beneficiaries to talk about from TLT, and I think we get the elephant out of the room here. The biggest news of all: Horsburgh bracket 10, Smithy's at 13. I mean, you know, like no. Lockie Galvin dropped. We won't get into a whole debacle. Who cares who's right? Who cares who's wrong? We care about SuperCoach and what's it going to do for us. Jerome Luai is a very, very cheap guy. Could he be a beneficiary come 2 weeks' time if we see anything from him, Yumstar?
Yeah, good question. I think, yeah, definitely a wait and see for me. See what his role is like without Galvin. I mean, we saw him kill it without Cleary last year. So I can see, yeah, being next to Dewey. I mean, Dewey's named at 7, but Luai is basically going to be the 7, you'd think. Yeah, he is very cheap. I knew he was cheap. I didn't realize it was $370K. So yeah, he's a easy watch and see, and could very well be a good value pickup.
Mate, as you're talking, I'm sorry, I just looked him up. He's dead set $370K. What's absolutely doing there? He's dropped 212. I think in the preseason, looking into him, his average when he was without Cleary for his career was low 70s. I could be wrong. Maybe high 60s. Don't know if I could do it, but one thing I really like about Luai, aside from his anime, mind games, is the fact that he has a sauna and an ice bath in his backyard. Something I'm a big fan of. You know, obviously he's really into his contrast therapy. Well. Really good for longevity. Really good for the skin. Can only make him a better footy player, I reckon. Wonder if that was installed this week, and I wonder if he goes better as a result. But I'm more keen on playing Adam Dewey, a guy that's been sitting in my team doing sweet fuck all year, kind of like the rest of them, I guess. But Adam Dewey, when he plays in the halves, 26 games for his career, guys, averages 75. Plays Para this weekend. Sneaky C option. Look into it. Think about it. Probably don't do it, though.
Yeah, do as I say, not as I do, I would imagine, with Dewey. But yeah, he's a bit attractive, isn't he? Well, I mean, he's more attractive for owners, because if you had him from a start and he's moved up into a half-down, you're kind of kicking yourself and going, well, aren't I a genius? I'm sorry, do you have him?
Dewey, as I say, not as I do it.
yeah. Pretty much. I mean, yeah, look, he's a good shout now. He's in the halves. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it works. I think the thing that's deterring me off Luai, we know Galvin took a bunch of touches. He was about 50 or 60 touches more so far. I haven't done receipts for last game, but the thing that will interest me is how long does Lockie Galvin stay out of reserve grade? How long does this whole fiasco go? We know Players Association is in there now, so I imagine this gets sorted out, by next week. But this could be massive for SuperCoach. I mean, who knows what happens with Dylan Brown now? We know that apparently Galvin's Eels bound. It's a whole thing. It's going to be very interesting the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, look, I floated this idea in the Gibberers chat, and shout out to the Gibberers for the first time tonight. At times like this, where you've got player disruption, contract issues, you'd just love to see some type of trade policy implemented. Like,
great, eh?
Get Dill Brown out of Para, get Galvin out of West, take someone from Newcastle, 3-way trade, Menage a trois trade even. It'd just be so much more fun than kind of sitting around and saying, oh yeah, look, whilst true, Isaac Moses is a you know what, or the club got it right. Mate, let's just start trading players like we trade Supercoach players, and let the fans decide who goes where. Just start a WhatsApp poll and make the decisions that way. I think that'd be a lot more fun than seeing a generational talent like Galvin rot away at Lidcombe Oval for the next 6 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah, look, I'm sure Andrew Raptor's got a boost off his sleeve, and he'll be sure to find a way to use that. But I mean, I keep hearing that 3-way trade, something getting worked out with Brown tonight early, Galvin to Eels. It makes both of them freaking great options, in the future if it happens. But yeah, look, it's interesting. And I think if we go on to the Eels now, something that I'm happy about and we've been waiting for weeks, and Iongi truthers, fuck me, why did we have to get a 1 game before the damn bye? Mitch Moses is back in the team. It's just an absolute ripper of a ad for Iongi, because that kicking game, he adds an extra 15 to 20 minutes deep. Iongi gets more attacking chances, straightens up play. Mr. 37K. How's our Iongi tattoo coming along? But
first of all, without any further ado, I feel I owe this to the breakdown community. Maybe you can or you can't see it, but just under my Kyle Flanagan tribute, in. We do have a live volley. Shout out to April 5th, 2024. The ton heard around the world for Isaiah Voldemort Iongi. Look, Moses being back is a net positive to any side, whether it be the New South Wales Blues or the Parramatta Eels. Kicking game, as you mentioned, Cheese will be creme de la creme. But also kind of interested by the inclusion of preseason darling Kelma the Spud Tuolangi. And what that may mean for Iongi. We saw it a couple of times in the trials that he snuck a little offload away. He's probably not good for much else. But is this the week that Iongi gives us one of the great Easter eggs of all time and tons up before he's then immediately moved on to Tedesco for Anzac Day? As the last post sounds, post 2 up, straight C, do it for the Diggers.
Mate, Yums, I'll throw to you because there's a few things going on finally. But do you own him? And if you do, how do you feel about Moses coming back in?
I do own him, I think it can only be good, surely. I mean, he's not been going great apart from that ton a couple of weeks ago. I think, I'd still like to move him on if I could to a Teddy or even a Drinky next week. With that ton going out of his rolling average next week, if he dishes up another 30 or 40, his cash gain isn't really going anywhere fast. And so with the bye after the Tigers becomes a good opportunity to try and jump up to a gun, I think. Not that it's going to be easy with his cash. But, not sure. It'll be interesting. A lot of storylines in that game. Obviously, Tigers are looking pretty settled.
A few Moseses will be booed that day.
Yeah.
As Ian Compton, aka Compo, says in the comments, Moses was always coming back against the Tigers. Uncle Isaac told him it's a must. Again, as Yumster said, a few narratives in this game. It will be a pretty packed house there on Easter Monday, post-Easter show, I reckon. What do you reckon, Cheese? Like, what will this mean for Voldemort? Munster? I mean, not Munster. Moses coming back.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's massive for him because one of the things Eels have been lacking is that kicking game and turning teams around. Like we've seen Hawkins pull a few out on the full where you just go there, textbook kicks, mate. Just get them on ground, even if they're settling, just on the ground, find your grass. with Moses, we highlighted it real early in the season 2 against Melbourne, is they lose out about 15 to 20 meters a kick. Melbourne started earlier, and we saw it happen too in Melbourne. Like, there wasn't many red zone opportunities for Ione, but when he was down there, he looked decent.
Yep.
Obviously, Volk was there, though not our Lord and Savior. Congratulations, Mr. Volk.
Get the strap, baby.
Get the strap, baby. But yeah, look, it's gonna strain up play so much more. I find it interesting Talongi's back in now with Moses. It's quite a confident booster because we saw in the trials he looked good on that right edge. Now we bring Moses into the fray, and he's a very straight, direct player. He's not someone who I've been saying with Cleary, we want him to edge out more on that outside shoulder, that second rower. You don't want that with Moses. You want him squared up on the inside, so that way you get Kelmer on the outside.
Right.
And then Ione sweeps around back, targets a center, and then a 3-on-2. So yeah, it's very promising for Ione. The problem is he has to bye the next week.
Yeah.
That's the only problem. If this happened 2 weeks ago, it would have been beautiful. So it's a 1 week play. He has a break even of 2, so you can still make quite a fair bit of cash. The problem is just obviously it's a 1 week play. You'd have to think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm in a position where I up until 4 hours ago had Walsh, Drinkwater, and Voldemort in my fullback slots, and yeah, all week I was kind of like Voldy to Teddy. But I've kind of had a bit of a look under the hood of the Broncos draw. Don't love those conditions over in New Zealand. Fullbacks average 58 over there. That's Tedesco and Turbo. Not really too keen to see how Walsh does. And then they play the Dogs, which is the SC Black Hole of the year thus far. And then potentially a resurgent Panthers at Magic Round. So I've said, thanks, Reece Walsh, for absolutely nothing, mate. You've lost 170K. You're probably part of the reason I'm ranked 37,000 overall. And he's gone to Papenhousen. Ione, one more week for old time's sake, buddy. Please do something.
Yeah, it's Papenhausen's. Oh, he appeared. He was a wild Pokemon, a shiny Pokemon of that. Appeared in my team, and I just kind of went, jeez. I have a game plan here. I can't do it. Can I? I can't do it. Man, he's tempting. That draw's so good for him as well, even when he does lose the kicking in 2 weeks. Like, it's...
Yeah, well, sorry, mate. I like, even to the point where, let's say he keeps that, well, he will keep the kicking for the next couple of weeks. The break even should still be fairly manageable, I'd say, for that.
Yeah.
I think they play West and then the Titans. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But then, like,
West
you know,
Sharks
you could
Titans,
potentially... Yeah, you could potentially even abort at 850K, you know, on Paps in a month once. I don't know, something like that. Like, that's probably a better case scenario than waiting for Walsh to get to 650. You know.
Yeah, Youngster. I think it might be a fair assessment to say we could see another 2 tons in a row from Pappy over these next 2 weeks. Dolphins and then Souths. I mean, yeah, it's scary for non-owners.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. If I didn't own him, I would be looking to move heaven and earth to get him in this week. Yeah, Dolphins are hardly looking very inspiring. And yeah, as a Storm fan, it's great to watch. Like, our attack just is clear.
Oh, mate. You must be loving life, brother.
Oh, yeah. So I find it hard to not see us putting on another cricket score again this week. And then Souths, Raiders, who you never know what's going to happen with Raiders, but up at Suncorp, we have a great record there. And then Tigers after that. It's a pretty juicy run. And I think at 720K, he's still a relative bargain compared to what Teddy's up 900K-ish.
This is the week to get Pappy if you're going to get him in. Like, his break even's 18. You know, with a decent score this week, he's like high 700s with another kind of single digit, low teen break even for that Souths game, which is at Amy Park. Yeah, now or never, I think. Whereas Tedesco, even though Penrith are the second worst team when it comes to fullbacks, Tedesco's break even's a little bit higher, like 70 odd. He'll probably still run up, obviously, but yeah, I think if it's between one of the two, you can only get one of them in this week. Perhaps probably has the best case based on all the above factors.
So it's so hard to pass up Pappy, isn't it? I mean, bad attack from
Oh,
it's
mate.
the best thing we comp by a mile.
Yeah, they're just going to put on 30 points a week, no problem. And you'd think that based on the clips we're about to look at, he's probably going to have a hand in at least one, if not score in one or two of them as well.
Yeah. Do you want to get the clips ready about Pappy, because their attack is just friggin' phenomenal? But I think this thing that scares me so much is we saw them let up in that second half quite a bit. Like, they didn't put their boot to the throat to the next and same thing. But look, I feel like Bellamy's just come out and just gone, I don't give a shit. Put 100 on him. Like, don't take anything off, because he wouldn't be happy with that performance in the second half at all. So
Mate, they did it against Para as well, right? Like, it was 40 zip at half time, and then they took the foot off the gas. Like, what happens if you get an 80-minute? Are we going to see as Yumster said, a cricket score, none for 100? Like Usman Khawaja and Sammy Constas at the MCG against India.
Mate, they're just all firing though, aren't they? Like, I mean, I know Grant has been awful at times from a Supercoach standpoint this year, but they've all been firing in their own way, and the forwards have been getting to points. Harris been good. Anderson, anyone who, we talk about Penrith and being a systemic team, next man up, and they fit straight in. I tell you what, Storm, they've been doing it for years. They're very underrated, but it's a whole new level now.
Yeah.
I think, sorry, mate. I think the scary thing last year, we were, I think, quite comfortably the best team in the comp up until the game that really mattered, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But you look, Munster wasn't himself, and he was really a ghost a lot of the time. Grant was pretty terrible, especially by his standards, and yet we were still, looking like the best team in the comp for most of the year. And so now with Papenhousen back and healthy as well, with Hughes,
Hughes, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure we all saw last year. Was it? No, sorry. When did Puppy come back from that last big injury? Was that 2 years ago? He played a few games. Youngstar?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, he came on a lock. Yeah. Came in through the mid. Oh, sorry. Before he did that, re-injured. He came on a lock. My apologies. But whenever Pappy's in that team, they all go to another level. They all look confident. And we saw that when he first came back, and he was very hesitant last year. And Reese, I know these clips are going to put up, he puts the head down and he just goes again. He's taken everything on. It's so good to watch. I mean,
mate, there's a bloke down here on Bondi Beach that I see. He's probably about 78, right? And he goes for a sprint every morning on the sand. And it's so funny. Like, Papenhousen has the exact same running style as him. Like, kind of ducks the head, gets into the slipstream like Cadell Evans used to do, and just goes, baby. He just goes. I think he's trying to impress the Brazilians on the promenade. Just as, Pappy's obviously impressing us in our dungeons when he does it. But, yeah, I think it can't be understated how important it is having that full spine there. There's some crazy stat. I don't know what the number is. It's criminally low, like how many games that the Big Four have actually ever played together, man. There's always been one of them.
Stat. If you're a rugby league fan, it's real sad.
Ridiculous. But, we're seeing all of them now, aside from maybe Hughes, at tip-top health right now. And based on this clip we're about to look at, you'll see that Pappy doesn't really have to do a lot. As Cheese said, he kind of just can simplify his role, get in the right spot, hide behind all their great runners, and just put his head down and go for broke. So without further ado, let's have a look at one. This is on the right tram line against Melbourne. The Warriors. This is 2 minutes into the game, and you're just going to see them get into their shape straight away. So we see where the ball is, right?
Yeah.
How they could tell we're playing it.
Yeah.
Just play the clip. So you've got Hughesy there at first receiver, and enjoy from here, boys. Show inside,
gets across
short
wide.
Ball. Ups, there you go.
Yeah.
Papenhousen try assist there, which I thought slightly egregious, but I guess he does.
It's a weird one for me. I mean, I would have been happy at going to. Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a weird one. That's such a grey area. But like, look how far Husey gets on that.
Yeah,
I think that's what I love so much about it.
It goes from right tram line. Papenhousen gets on the left tram line. Like, a great pass by Grant. Hughes holds it up nicely. Yeah, what do you reckon here, Cheese? This looks fairly replicable, as we tend to always kind of look for in these clips.
We talk about the Dragons having basic shape. When I call, and I'm going to call it here now, this is a basic shape for the Storm because it's just done beautifully here. You're just trying to get your second rower onto a center here. You know, obviously, legs tackle. That's all you want because then you got Pappy coming through on that inside. Ideally, I think in this play here at training, you'd want Pappy to be more on the hip there. They would have run scenarios with that legs tackle there, so you'd want him to come in a little closer. Right. But if you look here, Munster's got Pappy out the back there as well. It's an easy catch and pass for him.
Might just pause it when Munster gets it.
But like that's the great thing about Melbourne. It's also Pappy's demise in SuperCoach is he doesn't have to do a lot.
Yeah, see even there, like Pappy gets the ball. He's got, I think, Capel in the centres potentially, or Rocco Berry. It's two outside. He probably burns that outside shoulder. Given
you've got a 5-on-3 here. That's how good Melbourne are at getting to their points on the field during a play.
Yeah, I think the thing that I've really noticed this year is like Pappy when he burst onto the scene was just this freak, this fast freak, and he would just burn people for pace all the time. And I think understandably due to the injuries, he's lost a yard of pace. But what has really come a long way is his ball playing.
Yeah.
I can remember on multiple occasions already this year, he'll throw a great cutout. And yeah, like that just takes this game to another level from an SC perspective.
And
I guess I think
100%.
Well, you touched on it earlier, Cheese, but the danger is often be that there's just so many cooks in the kitchen. Like Munster doesn't have to have a huge game. Hughes, Grant, perhaps one of them can just stand up, and you'll get a game where we can put 50 on and one of the spine. I mean, I think Munster scored about 50 on the weekend. So, but I think the goal kicking is a huge one as well. Like Meany should be back before too long, but that goal kicking adds like a huge flaw there.
Yeah, another 28 a game the last couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, the past 2 weeks, 28 a game. Without it, finishes on 40 and then 112. And I mean, we've got Walsh finishing on 50 without the goal kicking, but the ceiling is not there.
The artist formerly known as Reece Walsh. This next play is in the second half. Shock horror again. It's Eli Katoa playing the ball on the right tram line. So what do you reckon we're going to see here, boys?
Mate, I love Melbourne. I love how they get to their points.
So we got Wishart at first receiver. Runs the exact same line, but instead they go out the back. Instead of playing that short ball to Bloor. Now, Coates scores here. Papenhousen's there to score if necessary, given his great support play. But this is the variance, right? Like,
yeah.
The defender,
and this is what we're talking about. It's that exact same play, and instead, this is what I love about Hughesy and Munster, is that they look up and they go, okay, great, we don't have that 5-on-3, but we can still turn a 4-on-5 into a 3-on-2, a 3-on-1. Like this, because if you notice in the one we just looked at, is that Metcalf there? I think that's Metcalf, playing 3 out. So Metcalf was a lot closer in. His spacing was about a meter away. He absolutely misread that. Here, he's gone, great, I know what they're running. They ran it before, we can defend it. They look up and they just go, great, we'll go back now. We've still got that overlap, just a different way. And this is where, for someone who doesn't have a great base, this is where Pappy excels because Melbourne just has 5 different options in a play.
Yeah, that's the scary part about it, right? Like they can just get into so many different variants to get him in the scoring spots.
Yeah, and he's just got time and time. Like, in all fairness, Finn, probably against the Bulldogs, Burden and Sexton, they probably release earlier. Like, the Bulldogs are a great scramble and release team here. But aside from them, I don't see, because that should not be a overlap there. You should be able to release earlier. But a lot of the teams this year are struggling with it. And it's just, this is why Melbourne's so good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think
sorry, go ahead, mate.
That clip just really shows, why fullbacks are gold in SuperCoach, because realistically he does almost nothing there. the overlap is sort of already there. He just passes it on. But I think, having that speed on the flanks, especially Coates. I mean, Warbrick's hardly slow himself, and he's a bit of a tank. But playing, with Howarth inside of him as well. Howarth has shown he has great hands. And so I think, we've already seen Papenhousen will get a lot of points just playing his role as a fullback there. And I think he's really got that Guffo ability just to pop up and be a support player. And with so many weapons in the team, with Katoa, Munster, Hughes, Grant, all he needs is, a couple pop-ups and already he's tunning up.
Yeah. Oh, like as Cheese said, like just having those wise heads in the middle to control the spacing just makes his role so much easier. You can just linger out the back, gets the ball without any pressure on him, and he's got either a pretty easy decision to make of flicking it out to Howarth, who's not the worst runner in the world, or the long ball to Coates, or just to back himself, given he's probably one of the fastest men in the league.
The thing too that I think people forget about Happy is that when he's on, he's a season keeper. Like he's absolute season keeper, and I know there's always the thing about his injuries and stuff like that, but they're not tissue injuries. They're bones that have been, knee-on-knee contact, and when you got Nas going straight onto an ankle, like freak injuries that not many people will friggin' get out of that carefree. For me, though, is when you look at that Origin period and you see teams and they get affected by Origin. Melbourne won't be affected when you've got Katoa, who doesn't play Origin, Hughes, who doesn't play Origin. That spine is essentially intact regarding Munster leaving. Actually, Munster probably stays now. Dearden and
Munster will get picked.
Who's in that? Who's the Queensland halves, do we reckon?
Cherry Evans. Cherry Evans.
Sure. It's got to be
over Dearden.
Really.
Yeah.
I mean, Dearden's solid, and he's hardly let his state down when he's played, but Munster's just another level, I think.
It's a bit of a Walsh and Ponga. It's probably whoever's in form, right?
Fuck, I love Tommy Dearden. Just thinking about it now, like he's such a good player, man.
Dearden's such an Origin guy. That's why he comes first in my head. He's a bit like Walsh with that confidence and stuff, but he's solid. He's grounded.
Hits hard.
But that's one. But like best case scenario, say Munster doesn't play Origin. You've then got Hughes, Katoa, Munster. Yeah, Hughes, Katoa, Munster there to help Blore, to help Pappy. With Coates leaves, you've still probably the best team throughout the Origin period. They should be.
Wow, it's a great point because like Warbrick's a Kiwi, Coates, like he's obviously Coates, but Anderson will do a job for you there. Yeah, Munster's really the only, and Grant obviously, but then you can put in Wishart or Smoothie.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you got Wishy there. Hang on, but you lose Coates, but you keep far longer. You keep Sewer, so you've got speed out there. I mean, their spine, their backs, anything that will benefit Pappy stays with him throughout that bye period.
Just a couple more Pappy clips I want to show you, boys. This is now the previous two clips we've looked at. We've seen pretty much the same player, right? We've seen Hughes at first receiver, turning a couple of blokes under, dummying a couple of blokes under, double lead out the back to Munster. Munster then making a decision to go short or out the back. This one here, we see the ball played midfield. It's by Josh King. We see Munster at first receiver. Sorry about the resolution.
Both sides. Oh.
Look at that, man. Like, they're just in their spot. See Munster pointing there saying,
God.
Yeah. But we noticed, like, before, Papenhousen was a little bit wider of the ruck. This time he's kind of on Munster's left hip, meaning that he's going to get the ball a bit sooner. So I'll let it play out and then let Cheese break it down for us.
God, I love that double shape for him in the middle.
Yeah. Shape shifting. So, sorry.
I love that. Head down.
Munster show inside, get them interested. Defender comes out. Papenhousen again, like as Youngster was saying, like you can either ball play or just dummy go. See you later.
And Youngster, you've hit the nail on the head there where he's lost for speed, but he's picked up. Obviously he's still a very fast guy, just not what we're used to seeing. But he's picked up, he's worked on that ball playing, and I think what people seem to forget is him and Slater are very close. He's always over there for Slaters. He's worked with him endlessly to gain back to where he needs to be. And Slater changed for fullback position. He really brought in that ball playing out the back and back yourself player. And we're seeing it here with Pappy now because you go back 3-4 years ago against Penrith, he just puts the head down. Doesn't even look like dummy. He's now got that awareness to show out and just back himself.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, more from a real life perspective, there's been a little bit of chat about him playing Origin. And I tend to think that that Edwards will get backed in, but a new coach, you never know. And if you're picking one on form right now, I think it has to be Papenhousen or Teddy. Teddy's been going well as well.
Yeah, it wouldn't be good for SuperCoach, but I'd love to see Pappy get a shot in a Blues jersey. But
one more Pappy clip for you boys. This is again from round one. There was a few to choose from in round one against Para, but this is now old school Pappy. We played like the mature Pappy, the Slater-esque Pappy, but this is just back yourself, shut the gate. Actually, it's also a scrum player, so Cheese, keep your pants on, baby.
Oh, mate, this is taking me back to the grand final. Pappy try score.
Bang, inside. Fuck, hang on.
You know what? It's great for Pappy. Great hip strength by the way from Pappy too. He's really worked on that because he probably gets taken down in if like a few years back if he gets caught. But again, I think that this is more on the honest of who's in that blue head gears? That's not Tom. Riley Smith. Eagerness, young kid trying to get up, make that tackle, puts himself out of position. That's on the defense then, but the reason that happens is because you've got 3-4 targets from a Storm you have to worry about in one play.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? Is like they give them so many looks that those opportunities like that can just present themselves throughout a game, especially when it's 40 zip at that point as well.
He's the opposite to Gufson, where we and we'll get into their shape soon, but we spoke about Gufson being the main target for the Dragons. When we look at Pappy, he's the benefit of 5 to 4 other targets in a play. That's where he makes his mark. Because you think of it like Katoa, you've got to focus on him. You got to focus Monster. You got to focus Hughes, Grant, who's there sniffing around. That's Ryan Papenhousen, who doesn't get tired, and he's not someone where he takes a hard carry. Often at times you'll see him go into contact, lower the body, elbows, knees, and it just makes him so much fresher come that back end of the game.
100%. Yeah. Look, sorry, mate. Looking at that play, I think most teams 90% of the time they go long to Hughes, let the halfback dictate play. But there, like if I'm the defense, if I'm the Eels defense, I'm thinking, it's coming to Hughes. Instead, they go short to Pappy, and by the time they can readjust, it's too late. He's gone. Put the foot down.
Definitely. Do you remember the days like early Pappy, like not West Tigers Pappy, but close
Touch
to
Pappy?
Yeah, Oak Hill Pappy. He'd make like 20 runs a game. It was 20 to 24 even. It was a real kind of workhorse, kind of in the Keanu Kinney mold. But yeah, now those other blokes have matured, Deluxe, and his role's easy. So listen, again, Pappy's in 80% of teams of the top 16K. Like we're not probably changing a lot of people's minds on him tonight, but it's probably more
you'll change your mind. I'm about to reverse trade and game in. I'm about to throw all my plans out the window. But I think the thing with Pappy too is when we look at his receipts, so 131 SuperCoach points, 33 touches. 66 SuperCoach points, 34, 65, 35 touches, 68 SuperCoach points, 19 touches. So sits around that 30 mark a game, but even when he goes under that, he's still around the ball. And in, if I am correct here, each game an attacking stat.
Yeah, try assists, whatever.
He finds them, man.
Yeah, well, again, it's just more to the fact of like how good are Melbourne? Are they? I don't know. Like it's round 6, but are we gonna be having conversations in round 18 of like this is the best club side we've ever seen? I think the thing is, if you think Melbourne's gonna end the season as minor premiers, which I think a lot of us bloody do, and they probably run away with it. If you think each week you're going tipping Melbourne by 14 plus, Yeah.
You get Pappy in, and you just go, I really hope nothing happens to this bloke.
Who did they lose to? I lost the Saints. That's right. It was that really weird wet game, wasn't it? Where Gutho-
very, very wet, very grindy game, and Dragons just really outgrind them. And I think it's
Hughes.
I don't think we see that again. They kind of go off guard. Because they started off with Para, able to play a bit of a flashy type of brand, and when you come up against Panthers and you go, it's not the same Panthers team. Cleary's out. They pretty much just had their way. St. George was that first team to really just grind them down.
Yeah, and then 90 points in the last 2 weeks against Manly, and then the Wars. Just tell me why they can't do that for the next month. I mean, it's Fins, Rabbits, Raiders, and then that Sunday Arvo 2 p.m. Amy Park versus West Tigers.
That draw is outstanding.
Yeah.
I think the scary thing, if you're a Melbourne Storm hater, who, let's face it, 90% of the league are, except you faithful, is like someone touched on it earlier, but we're yet to really put a second half together. Last week, I checked the score, I was out, and it's 38-0 after 30 minutes or something like that. And you're thinking, oh, here we go, it's going to be 80 zip. And we just turned off in the second half. So if we put together a full 80 minutes with our whole spine on the field, it's hard to see too many teams keeping up with us. I think that's the key, is keeping the spine together, because I think Papenhousen is almost the most important member of that spine right now. Just because Farlongo he's electric, but he really has to work on his ball playing.
He doesn't have it yet, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Pappy's got that stability there. I said it again. Pappy entered that field when he came back from injury. That team shot up. Didn't matter what Pappy did. They all just love playing with him. He's that guy you want in your team and you play for. I'm just mesmerized with this draw here because you get Pappy in this week. Game in this week, 719K. Who's to say he doesn't hit 1 million? Because this draw is just this draw is just terrific. It honestly is unbeatable in my opinion. Probably Manly when they get Turbo back in round 20 is the hardest game, unless the Sharks somehow find defensive structure again. But
it's pretty roll over, go to work kind of stuff for this next little period.
They don't play with Bulldogs till round 25.
Yeah, who seem to be their only real. I'll ask you this then, boys. Munster, Hughes, Grant, Katoa, Papenhausen. What are your power rankings right now?
Youngster, mate, as the Storm fan, kick us off, please.
Oh, tough question. I think Harry Grant would be pretty firmly at the bottom. I think he's struggled from an SC perspective the last couple of years and from a real life perspective, honestly. I think a few years ago we would have been saying he's averaging 80 plus easily, playing off the back of a team that's putting cricket scores on every week. I think I would have probably Papenhausen number 1 at the moment. Just with the goal kicking, I know he most likely won't keep that once Meany's back. But I think at the value at 700K in the draw, he's going to put up some big scores. And then it's tricky between Munster and Hughes, I think. Actually, I'd probably have Katoa next. There are some good-looking second-row forward options with Fafita becoming an option. But Katoa, I would be quite surprised if he doesn't finish as the number 1 ranked second rower.
Absolutely.
And then between Hughes and Munster, I think I'd probably go Munster just because of the 5'8" position. But the halves aren't looking too great at the moment. The halfbacks, that is, aren't looking too great either, with Cleary playing in a spoon contender and Hines hardly setting the world alight. So.
Just before we move on to maybe a little bit of Gutho stuff, just a couple of questions if you want, lads, that I might throw you away from the gibbers here tonight. First question comes from Bailey. So we've just been waxing lyrical about the Melbourne Storm, but Bailey comes in from the top rope and he says, not a question, guys, just giving you head noise. Farnworth, 687K. Melbourne have conceded a try to left centres 4 out of 5 games this season. I believe this weekend you're going to have Grant Anderson and Sua Fa'alogo on the same edge. We could probably even segue that into like a who do we bring in for centre wingers kind of conversation, but that's something to think about, isn't it? Melbourne actually concede the most points in the comp to left centres, probably given the combinations changing a lot. Does that, if I got a vortex of Val, Herbie, Carraz, does that stat sway you much, or is the first 6 weeks an aberration?
No, it's definitely a stat that is worth looking into. I mean, especially when you consider it has been changing quite a bit, that left edge. For me, it's I think at this point in the season, I'm looking more so who's essentially bottomed out in a sense, where like I look at Herbie and I go, he's probably not changed in price much at all this season unless he gets an injury, but because he's got that base, he just kind of sticks around there. Look, for me, a CTW target this week is Kiraz against Souths.
You like that one?
You
like that one?
Yeah, I love that one, mate. Souths, Kiraz on a wing. Yeah, Herbie, a left center against Storm. It is tempting, but then again, I don't want to see them get starved of the ball. That's my problem. Like, if we think Storm are coming out, put a cricket score on, I think we can all say 40 plus is in the realm of possibility this week for the Storm. How much ball does Herbie see then?
Right, great point.
That's
great
the thing.
point.
How
I
much
haven't
ball
played
is
this
actually
yet.
in play? Yeah. Like how much ball's in play for Herbie to actually, like, I mean, the base is going to be there. He's going to have plenty of kick returns to do, but it's just at this stage.
I think both are great options in my mind. I think for the 1 week play, I probably would edge Carraz. I mean, they're both going to have good base. Carraz playing in a good team. Herbie, not so much. But I have been impressed looking at him, just how much ball he gets. Feels like he's getting a lot of attacking ball. The Dolphins halves, like Katoa, is very much more of a facilitator. Get it onto your guns. And Nikarima is, he's not exactly an attacking weapon himself. So it's close. I think I would edge Kiraz. I think I'm going Kiraz this week, but I couldn't blame anyone for going Farnworth.
Yeah, that Carraz on the right wing is close to I hate saying the word no-brainer at 37K overall, but he averaged 83 on the right wing last year, guys. 7 tons out there. Again, South's new wing combination. I think you've got Tass and Campbell Graham on that edge this week. I love the Good Friday vibes. There's going to be 70,000 people there off the back of a bit of Easter shows stuff. I think it's just going to be a ceremonial.
It's a great game for him.
Set up for the dogs here, I think.
Only reason you don't go Kiraz if you have to sacrifice Kiraz for a Pappy and go him next week or something. I mean, good draw, keeper, but you probably want him in this week just to get that benefit of the points.
Next question comes from Tyler, a bit of a rogue one. He says, is Piakora an option next week at 267K, or am I completely delusional?
No, you're not delusional, mate. Youngster, kick us off, please, because,
when I saw the price, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, Piakora, at that price, it does seem a no-brainer, especially with Goss, I think, out for, 6+ weeks. I definitely wouldn't be going early on it just because Jaden Hunt has looked all right. I think he got a try on the weekend. Not Kevy. Who's the coach? I just had a mind blank. Look,
Ivan Henjak.
Yes. I think he's already shown that he's willing to drop Piakora. And Gajewski is hardly a world beater, but he had the spot to start with. So
yeah,
I'll
no,
be a little
Tyler,
bit
you are
hesitant.
completely delusional, mate. You are delusional. Go and go for a walk, mate. Go get some fresh air, touch some grass. You're off the head.
I'm here for this because if Purecrow does not pick up a fucking attacking stat in 8 weeks, I'm fucking done, honestly. It's 8 weeks. Surely he just picks up one attacking stat. Like, he's not a play. I don't think he's a play, but surely he picks up one stat, gets you to 400k. Right?
Yeah.
Surely.
If I'm sitting at 37k,
surely Hugo Savala doesn't lose cash last week.
If I'm sitting at 37k, which I'm sure none of us here are, then he's someone who I would consider taking a punt on.
Got to do something, mate. Got to do something.
Probably not this week, unless you desperately need a downgrade.
Nah, I don't mind it. I'm going to chime in here because Crimson Chin, possible relation to the Chin. Do you think Grant bounces back and becomes the clear hooker number one? Mate, no, I'm sorry, but maybe a cheaper hooker's better for the books in the long run.
Mate, he probably will, just given the upside in that attack. You already kind of the try he scored on the weekend. He's a great support player, great ball player. Obviously, can get defenders interested near the line. They've got Stefano, Josh King, Liero, all solid crash play targets. He probably does become the hooker number one, but how urgent is it to burn a trade on hooker at this stage of the season? I mean, the upside is not there. I don't think we've seen a ton in hooker apart from my goat Connor Watson. But that took a try double as well to get him there, and I think he played a bit of lock that game also. So yeah, probably does, but I don't feel it's a matter of urgency. What do you reckon, Yumster?
Yeah, pretty much spot on. I was just going to say, I think there's a fairly good chance he ends hooker number one from here on in, but not because I think he's going to average 80 plus or anything like that. Just because it's looking pretty dire at the moment. Especially if I have Watson, which I do. There's very little chance I'm willing to pay up for Grant along with Watson, especially because Grant's going to be gone for State of Origin before too long. I just don't think it's a priority at all.
Brad chimes in. He asks, boys, is Easter cancelled this year because of the cost of eggs? Also, is Teague Wilton good enough for a 2RF value option? Cheese, you're a Teague Wilton truther. What are your thoughts there?
I was years ago.
Season ticket holder.
You asked me 2-3 years ago. Wilton was one of the first on my team, but definitely. I think we've just got so much value at 2RF. I'd rather look elsewhere. The upside isn't there in my opinion. Like we've seen it with Nikora, the upside's not necessarily there either, and he's been scoring tries non-stop. So when you got guys like Ola, Katoa, Fafita, Horse, you could probably say is around the same value as Wilton.
Yeah, Couchman
started with him. Couchman. I mean, you can even slide Lucas up there if you want to play him in that 2RF spot. So there's too much value there for me to really look at Wilton and go, yeah, he's someone I'll take over any of them.
Agree. Brad, pull your head in, mate. That's a silly suggestion. Next one comes from Wayne's Orphanage. He says, hey, guys, I was happily married before this season, and now 7 weeks and 37,000 ranks in. Well, that sounds a bit too specific, mate. I'm alone and haven't touched a woman for what feels like forever. Should I give up SuperCoach and fight to get her back, or should I plug forward with the hope that she'll love me again once we see some green arrows? Cheers. Our thoughts there, gents.
I wish I had time to open it. For gibberish.
Wayne hasn't been touched by a woman for 7 weeks.
Comes to take it, mate.
I dare say it's longer than 7 weeks. Just one to think about.
Yeah. Look, some blokes think having a fancy car or a 6-pack is the way to go, but really, I think showing them that top K SuperCoach nothing beats it.
You know that meme, like the dude in the club where he's like screaming in the girl's ear. He's like doing that, and then she's like completely like dead-eyed. That's what it feels like when you start talking about pods at the Beach Road Hotel on a Wednesday night. To a Latina as well. You know what it regularly is.
You know what's better than a good fucking rank this year? Getting your captain right. God damn, that's rare.
Next one comes from Rami. He says, boys, is Ponga a hold or a sell? Do either of you own Ponga?
Yes. No,
Where are we at,
happily.
Cheese? Just checking in with you, mate. Where are we at?
Whoever follows me on X, Twitter, whatever you call it, you knew come Sunday that Ponga was out and he was gone. And then I remember there's a piece of our attack missing where Ponga performed well, scored good points, and that's Dylan Lucas. I rarely would say one guy makes a team one guy really makes a whole team a lot better, aside from Nathan Cleary. But Lucas just brings something where we're not seeing with Cant at the moment. That's the look. If we look back to those clips, remember those clips we watched early in the year? Ponga and Lucas, that combination. We said the reason this sharp out the back and Ponga goes into first receiver works is that short ball to Lucas.
Yeah.
Both games we saw that work out.
And the trials as well, right?
Yeah, and the trials as well. You look at Dylan Lucas, okay? So let me get this up here. 75 and a 97. Round one, round two, both of those from Ponga. We look at Caleb Ponga's stats, rounds 1, round 2, 82 and 129.
Yep.
And if I remember correctly, that 82, 4 points in goals. So, look, it's crazy to say it. Look, if Dylan Lucas wasn't coming back to round 12, Ponga's a sell, but I'm holding him because I feel like once he's back in, we see their 75s plus start happening again for Ponga. Wow. There's a correlation. There's no way Ponga's just absolutely shit for bet. I know Knights look terrible, but they didn't look like this for first 2 rounds. Ponga specifically, because him and Lucas, that combination is great.
Wow. You reckon he's that good, eh?
Mate, it's just some players have that combination. We see it in a sense, and I say this lightly, with Targo and Cleary on kicks. Probably two of the best combination for kicks through in the 15 attacking 15, where they know each other well. And that's what it looks like with Lucas and Ponga. I mean, Lucas is there when Ponga needs him to be, and he just gets through a line. Ponga backs up. He seems more comfortable when Lucas is there. I'm not saying Cant's bad at all. He's a very good workhorse, does his job. But yeah, Dylan Lucas, there's a correlation between the two. Ponga just doesn't go to shit randomly as bad as he has.
So you reckon not only is Ponga a hold, which you've had a very good case for, he's potentially even a buy next week, given they play the Wars, Souths, Gold Coast, and then Parramatta.
We think Lucas. We've heard Lucas may not come back to our Souths game due to that flight and stuff.
Yeah.
So look, if he comes back throughout our Souths game, you've got him playing Souths, Souths, Titans, Para, Panthers in round 12, and we know how the Panthers have been this year. So let's imagine a Panthers team throughout Origin period, and then goes into St. George. So. Yeah, look, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a real nice run happening there for Ponga, and it's just mainly through that left edge with Lucas.
Yeah, I was just looking at his stats, and he's got a 3-round average of 38. That is wild. Imagine telling someone after he started off with 120 and 80. And not that the Knights look particularly good. Like, their attack looked pretty lackluster those opening 2 weeks as well. Yeah. But, yeah. I think I would probably lean towards holding him. He's just lost 100K, like 667. I can't see him dropping too much more than that. Although if he puts up another 50 or something this week, which there's every chance he could against the Sharks, then he's probably
tell someone at the start. Yeah, sorry, mate. Just tell someone at the start of the year you could buy Walsh and Ponga next week for under 650K each.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
And I think just
because of. Yeah, I was looking at that run as well, which looks pretty juicy. And don't get me wrong, I don't trust the Knights to look good in attack. I think I would probably hold, and I could see him being a sneaky value buy in a couple of weeks, but you would have to be pretty brave to go there.
Yeah, I just don't see the trade out to buy back.
Yeah, if it's your only route to get to like a Pappy, I would probably do it. But otherwise, I don't think I'd be trading him.
One more question for you boys. This comes from Tim. Tim says, having a shocker of a season so far, and people keep telling me to delete the app. I know how you feel, mate.
Same.
My problem is if I delete the app, I'll have no apps left, as I've already been banned from Tinder and Hinge for asking my matches sit me start questions.
Can ban from Hinge, an interesting one.
Where do I go from here? Cheers. Well,
Bumble.
You've got... right, yeah.
Off the Bumble you go, mate.
The answer is Bumble, mate. And just don't
Bumble.
talk SuperCoach as your opener, mate. I don't know how all over 23-year-olds within 15 kilometers of you have much knowledge on PPM.
You know what he's doing? He's playing it smart. He's hoping one comes back and goes, do this player, and he goes, do you want to get married? That's what he's hoping for. He's trying to eliminate all the bad ones.
It's like, are you a keeper or a cash cow?
What was the question? What, a dating app he should go to next? Or was that
I think there's a few questions going on in Timmy's head.
There's a few questions we want to ask him.
Yeah, a few that probably going to be unanswered as well, unanswerable. But good luck with everything, Tim. I hope it works out for you, mate. Maybe just try a different alias or something, given you've been shadow banned under your real name.
Yeah, and I'll bring this up. Go ahead, Yumster.
Well, as I said before, I think once you get that 1K rank, they'll be flocking towards you. But I mean, I met
the
my
club and
girlfriend
just
on
hold
Hinge,
up your phone.
Yeah. So yeah.
You ever see that?
Like Reece
The
Smith.
photos of people with clubs in the front row that got phone up on Snapchat, and it's like need a certain substance. You just put it up there and you just go 1K SuperCoach. Watch them flock.
I got 1K in my bank account.
I've got an unrealized gain of 50K coming in September. But, I'll
Dimitri Margaret. Sorry, go.
Well, we got to talk about Dimitri soon, actually. But Jetspeed and Reece, I'll throw this to you, mate. What pod players on the radar? We want spicy, but not too spicy.
Scotty Drinkwater, mate. He's only in 1.6% of teams in the top 16K. I feel like a dickhead for even saying it out loud now. I wanted to keep more to myself, but we love our listeners over here at the Breakdown. A stat on Scotty Drinkwater for you guys. Over the last 3 seasons, between the rounds of 13 and 19, so in the Origin period, he averages 86. That's over the last 3 seasons between the rounds of 13 and 19. He only kicked goals in 3 of those 16 games as well. Obviously, he's got the goal kicking now. He always tends to run wild. Deedon might play, but without Cotter, I don't know. Something just seems to happen to Drinkwater around this time of the year. They play West, Melbourne, Finns, Chooks, Titans, and then Melbourne and the Dogs. That's actually not a great run. So take what I just said with a grain of salt. But yeah, love Drinky as a bring in, a trade in next week. They do play the Titans. I think that game is 5:30 at home. Then they play the Wars in Magic Round. Then they play Penrith. Penrith could probably be good by then, to be fair. But yeah, I love Drinkwater as that potential pod play. Jacob Kiraz also, but he's not really a pod anymore. Like he's in about 11% of teams. That's the first one that comes to my mind, lads. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I love the Drinkwater shout. Here's one I've been looking at in a couple of weeks, maybe as an Iongi upgrade if I can't afford Teddy. I was looking at Tarpany, and he's only in about 4% of teams. Yeah. His last 3 weeks, he's gone 103, 91, 92. And he's had some attacking stats there, but they're not a fluke. He's very much prone to getting attacking stats. And I think the biggest thing for me that surprised me was the minutes. He's gone 55, 59, 55. So it's not like he's playing the 65, 70 minutes that Prime Haas was. Like there's still upside there. And I think we often see around the Origin period that everyone flocks towards him because Ricky always seems to put his minutes up. And I mean, it is Ricky, but so far the minutes are looking pretty consistent there. So I do like Tarpany. He's not cheap. It's $740K, but if you need a front rower, and the front rowers are looking pretty juicy this year, and I do like Tarpany.
It's great shout, mate. Doesn't play Origin, obviously, given he's a K1W1, and I believe the Raiders play those first couple of bye rounds. I could be wrong, but
Yeah,
they'll
they
lose.
played 12, 13.
Fuck, the Raiders actually might be a pretty decent team over that little
got
stretch. I
no
don't think
straw,
they
eh?
lose anyone for Origin either. Maybe Hudson
Makes
Young.
mate, does Horse
Horsburgh
fall back
as
up to
well.
Origin?
Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah,
Mate,
good draw.
he's a
great
fiery
draw.
redhead. He's built for Suncorp, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Until he gets sent off in Origin.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it has impressed me though. With Horse, sorry. I mean, he's flicked a switch with his mentality. Not really getting, pulled into anything silly this year.
Who's your pod play, Chase?
I'm gonna give you an expensive one. Mate, he's 3.4% owned, and he's a fullback. Can anyone guess who he is?
Shansley Hook Clockstad?
Nope.
Will Kennedy.
Mate, no.
Tyrell Sloan.
He could have 100 minus 100 break even. Don't bring in Roll Kennedy. No, actually, it is Latrell Mitchell.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I'm not saying this week, but next week. Yeah, look, I mean, I think it's a very nice play to get on before that Origin period and just hold him there. I mean, I wouldn't go in this week.
Though, won't he?
Yeah. Well, Walker's back. I wonder how many games he does get of a halves though, but I'd still want him in sooner rather than later after this big break even. Like, I don't think you can get SuperCoach has him projected at 114 against the Bulldogs, so I would love to see that. But break even at 148, coming up against the Storm, into Newcastle, Broncos, Tigers, and Z. I mean, if you gain him in, you game in, I think, in that Storm round because you don't want to be bringing him in closer to Origin. You'll miss him for most games. So, yeah, I mean, I like him as a little pod play just because of that low ownership. You're buying him for points. You're not buying him for cash anyway.
Grant Anderson's also an option as a pod play. I brought him in draft. I keep talking about this. I think it's the second or third week in a row I've told everyone I brought him in draft. Obviously didn't have the ball suit in Classic, but he's averaged about 100 of last fortnight. So he's an option. He'll be playing centers this week, though. Maybe Suafau-Longo if you're feeling really flirty.
Coach is cheaper. I mean, like, if you want an attacking edge on that, Coach is cheaper and good break. I can't speak to my massive break even.
Yeah, Coach at 500k is pretty juicy. Don't mind.
Yeah, only going to go up to.
Nah, I wouldn't do it. He's got a 16 in him next week.
Yeah, I just looked at his scores.
Yeah, but then he's got 116 in the following week. So, like, you just take the good for the bad. I don't know.
Kind of like the Fox.
Yeah. Jake Cleary, 2,000 people have.
So.
Interesting. Mate, do you want to get us into Guffo?
Yeah,
we're getting a bit late in here. But we really want to highlight this because we said last week that, all play goes through Guffo. And Shane Flanagan went, no, it fucking doesn't. We'll show you idiots on a podcast that it doesn't have to. And we were saying in agreement. I thought it was going to happen. We'd have to see Dragons really say, look, he's not our only attacking threat. We went through clips last week. We saw Sloan on the hip in between him, but it was always Guffo not being an option once Sloan gets it. Things like that. This week we saw Sloan get the ball, everyone else get the ball, Guffo essentially not be an option, but still be in play. So, yeah, look, probably the shittest week to happen with a lot of people having a C on him, but I think in the long term, it's probably the best.
Mate, if you'd listened to our podcast last week, for 30 minutes, we're talking about how he's going to touch the ball deluxe, and then you just became aware that Saints scored 38 points, you probably would have thought he'd put a double ton up, but he was probably lucky to even get one try assist, to be honest. Look into it.
Yeah, I can't believe he kept that, actually, in all honesty.
But as we've kind of alluded to, it's great coaching by Flano. Let's sit back and enjoy this variance in shape. Mate. So we see the ball pretty much midfield here. I'll just play it out. Sorry. Bang. Okay. The bell on first receiver.
And it's the same basic shape we've seen.
Exactly the same, man.
But if you go back 2 weeks ago to clips we've seen, Guffo tips it on.
Awesome ball from, I think, Flano there. And then obviously Val, touch
it's a great
of God.
ball. But again, I messaged you this because again, I said, we needed to see this sooner or later because otherwise Guffer just becomes irrelevant almost because teams do this. I don't know if it was a Dragons thing where Flano said we're going to show different options here or if this was Titans because we see here they just kept shooting up on Guffer all game.
He would have got smashed if he got that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So maybe it was more of a mid-game adjustment from Flano going, let's hit the other options. They're doing this. But, look, it's beneficial in the long run because now we've seen teams spread out. We'll see that happening more.
Yeah, 100%. That's going to be my takeaway. Yeah.
They're going left again,
Short-term pain for long-term gain, guys. All right, that's what we call copium here.
Okay, so we're going left again. We're at the right post this time. Gutho out the back.
Yeah. Again, onus on the defense. He shoots.
Yeah, he comes flying in the winger there.
But if you watch that too, this is something we didn't see from Gutho in the previous rounds. He's hidden here. He hasn't been hidden at all in previous rounds. It's been out for back. He's getting it. Watch this little step here. Hidden, step out, shoot.
Yeah, he's hiding behind Leilua, which isn't a tough thing to do given his girth, but
yeah, look, Gutho puts a little step on to get a little whiff like he is getting that pass, and then you see just a shot up. This is great. This is what you want to see if you're a Dragons fan. And unfortunately, if you had to see on Gutho, it's not what you want to see. But again, it's just good. It's real good because now we're seeing a bit more trust in the team for him. Yeah,
it's a good point about it being hidden there. Makes you realize that it's almost certainly a plan from the Dragons to not go to him there. And I think, in that game we saw Val being utilized a lot more as an attacking weapon, which could hurt Gutho. But I think they're still peppering that left side, and we know how much Gutho loves to cut out. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is just an off week and we see Gutho with more involvement next week. But yeah, I think, as you said, it was definitely a plan, I think, seeing how much everyone knew to target Gutho and it didn't work this time. So
we're going to swing it back to the right.
Yeah,
definitely. Swing it back to the right here, boys. So we get left post. We're going to the right side now. Lovely ball by Elias. And then
see, this is a thing too. We've seen this shape, and it goes to Gutho previous weeks 10 out of 10 times here. Notice how he just eases off. He can grab that. That's not a dead set. Look, we're going straight there. It's sorry, my mistake. He doesn't grab this because it's going straight there. That was never meant for Gutho. Watch this. It's real in front, and he eases off. So definitely planned by the Dragons here.
So the $1 million question, or $810,000 question, boys, is actually one more. Sorry, we'll just look at this. This is now against the left.
I'll tell you that.
And this is the try that if you brought this bloke in an hour before kickoff, when he scored this try, there's no chance you're sitting down. This happens all pretty quickly.
I was so sad watching this too because I saw him. I saw him go move up to a starting team and went, yeah, maybe he is an option now for me.
I mean, it's a 3-on-2 if it goes out the back there.
This is just shit defense. This is taking a safe play. Yeah, I mean, I think even in previous rounds, if they get this look, they still go with that second row. It's just such a safe play.
Huge gap there between the center and
it's just dreadful. I mean, Egan owners. I mean, but I hope he bought a lot of ticket.
There's a bigger hole there than old mate who deleted his dating apps. That was unnecessary, but
might have to send young stuff for 10 there.
A bit naughty.
Drive by.
But yeah, I think that's terrible defense.
Yeah.
So, boys, the big question for me to both of you as Gutho owners, I believe. Yumster, are you a Gutho owner, mate?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, let me put a situation to you. Who do they play this week? Manly. And to be fair, Manly made Will Kennedy look like bloody Greg Inglis in Perth. But if it doesn't work out again with Gutho, if for whatever reason, well, if they, first of all, it's great for Saints fans that they've got options, as Cheese said.
Yeah.
Like the defense now just can't plan for one thing to happen. So they might be a bit on their heels. Maybe Gutho does shine again. But let's say defenses have caught up completely on everything that's going on. Gutho does 65, which is what his break even is. He then has a 100 and plenty break even going into the week after, where they play the Chooks on Anzac Day. Do you trade the bloke that's the top scoring player in SuperCoach then? Or do you just back the fact that, yeah, where do you stand, I guess, is what I'm asking.
One, I kept getting told this. We got told this all preseasons too about Jesse Arthurs, about how, like history states this, he's not going to be good. I'm not changing my viewpoint, Gutho, after that 1 week, which I thought would have happened anyway. I expected it to happen with Manly for him to really get that test against a good defensive team. Flanner would probably just want to pump the ego a little bit with all the boys in the team there. But I thought Manly would be a bit of a tough one for Gutherson anyway. But I brought him for the season. I brought him for that Roosters game. I'm not looking at teams as a whole for Gutherson. I'm looking at who are the edge defenders, who's that 3 out to 1 out. That's who you really need to focus on with the way Gutherson's playing this year. I mean, Luke Brooks, Jason Saab. I mean, like just 2 defenders there that he can really expose. And I think those 2 are the ones. Where is Brooksy left side? He is, isn't he?
Yes.
That would be
Cherry Evans defends on the right.
That would be that young kid on wing 2, I believe, as well this week.
Who? No, it's Sloan and Figo.
No, for Manly.
Fualalo or something.
Oh no, so you got Saab, Cooler, Garrick Talau. Like, yeah, look, I can see Saab getting exposed a fair bit. I mean, only issue is for long hands there with Gutherson's cutouts.
Yeah, kind of like we saw with Coates a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Coates trying to get the pass. That's the only problem there. That's why I thought it would be a tough matchup for him against the Seagulls. But then I think Yumstar pointed this brilliantly. They brought Holmes in as a priority in the attacking shape last week and really made him a standout target, which I think if we see that happen more from that 30 to that 50 meter mark, Gutherson's there for the support play. So I think that's what we'll see a bit more this week. But again, I've brought him for the season. I haven't brought him just for, that 2-week play. It's the draw's real nice. Edges, combos, pretty bad that he's coming up against. Yumstar, mate, as a fellow Gutho owner, how do you feel?
Yeah, pretty much the same as you. I think, Manly at Full Pine is always quite tough, even without Turbo. But there's no way I could sell him before the Roosters, the West Galvins, and then the Warriors. I think, at this stage, if I had to predict, I would say he's more likely to be a season keeper than not. When I bought him in round 4, it was mainly for the price rise. And hope to get a few weeks out of him before moving him on to a real keeper, because we've seen Gutho have his good runs before and they never seem to last. But I just get this feeling that it's something different, and I wouldn't let that one week put me off. If we see a couple more weeks of that, it would definitely be time to reassess, I think. But for now, I'm not worried at all.
Yeah, just a question from
unbiased
comment. I was just going to say a comment from Boxzilla there. Gutho won't be the decoy this week. You're looking to expose Garrick's bad defensive efforts. Yeah, Garrick's not a great defender, is he, on the right?
Nah, like he does his job, but he's very hit or miss. He goes all in on it.
He does. Yeah, he gambles. Mate, I reckon the Chooks do Penrith on Saturday night. Then we've got because I play for the Roosters, we've got 2 scalps in a row, the Bronx, and then the defending champs.
Yeah.
I reckon the Chooks are favourites for Anzac Day. Saints struggle against Manly, and then we sit here in a week's time, and it's panic stations on Gutho Island, boys. I think.
But see, I don't think it's panic stations, because when you got Tigers and Warriors, so you can't go, you know what I mean? I think the best question is not so much Gutho as himself, because I think Guffer still gets those 80+ scores probably. Like I think it's very well easy to do for him. I think the question is more tailored now to, is it Gufferson or Tedesco if you bring one in this week?
I guess what I'm getting at is like, are there better we sat here last week and said he's going to be Tedesco, Gutho, 1-2, right? But do better options just emerge overnight like they tend to do in SuperCoach? We've already kind of spoken about Dwinky. Perhaps Turbo comes back in a couple of weeks. Don't know if anyone's going to be doing that given he's going to have both knees strapped. Latrell coming down, Ponga about 600k. I wouldn't. All I'm saying is I'm not really out of conversation next week where you're having a look around. And maybe not trading Guthrie, be like, all right, who are my options?
Yeah.
Who are my options?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I think if you're a non-owner, I think now you kind of go, if I'm paying for someone above 800k, I'm paying for Teddy because of a buy schedule. And it's bloody James Tedesco. But and then you're looking at, these other options where you got Pappy, you've got Ponga, you got Walsh. I mean, if Walsh fires for the next 2 weeks, you kind of go, geez, he's cheap. You make up 130k from Guffo. So, this is one of the ones where I think you got to plan 10 weeks in advance to go, is Guffo on my team in 10 weeks? If he's not, you get him out and you go down to, someone else firing.
Yeah, I think if I'm ranking Guffo, Teddy, and Papenhousen this week, I'd say Papenhousen number 1. And I'd probably have Teddy ahead of Guffo for the reason you guys mentioned. But also, if I'm looking...
Sorry, the reason is Teddy's good and Gutho isn't, but continue.
Teddy's got hair, Guffo doesn't.
Yes, this is true. He doesn't have the Gufferino though, does he?
Yeah.
Neither does Guffo, apparently.
Yeah. He's got to learn some tips off Tui Pilotu outside of him.
Show me the money, baby.
But yeah, if someone wants to say that Guffo ends up averaging higher than those two or just behind Teddy, then I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, fair.
Question here. Go, Chase, you mate.
No, I was going to bring up a question. You go ahead, mate.
This one comes from Sam. Sorry, we're jumping around a bit here, but he goes, head scratcher. Why the fuck does Flano hate me and keep naming Matt fucking Feaguy when the truth Sione Finau, is carving up Reggie's and is the next SC chief we all deserve and need? I think Sloan will probably play on the left, actually, with Finau outside Sully like they did last year, and then also
I feel like he gets caught up, in our cuts.
Finau?
It's very weird to me that they've left him there as 18th man.
He is, right?
It's very weird. I would have,
So maybe Flano doesn't hate you, Socko. Maybe Flano doesn't hate you.
Let me, I'm sorry, we'll throw to you. I'm just going to take a look at who their 18th man has been the past couple of weeks. It's a bit weird.
He's got to get a go finale. That was bad. He's got to get a.
I love it.
It sounded better in my head, like they always do. He's got to get a go at some point, you'd think, but I'm not super convinced that he is going to get caught up ahead of Fine. So
never mind. Disregard me. Figai has been 18th man the last few weeks, so I don't know. Flana, maybe there is no call up for him.
Well, unlucky to Socko. Flano does hate you, mate.
Sorry, Socko.
Maybe you should get to more home games. One more question here comes from Carter. It's again surrounding the Dragons. Dylan Egan, boys, this week named at number 17 like he was last week. Do I start Egan if he makes the starting 13 late? So first of all, do you fellas think this is just mind games and he comes in and plays on the edge, then goes to the middle?
Junior Paulo, ain't he? He only fits in their 17 jersey. I mean, no, if he's named to start, come 1 hour cut, I think you need to look at who he's sitting. I think that's a big key to it. It's not so much do you start him if he's starting come 1 hour cut, then you look at who do I sit. That's the bigger question. Because he's a start if he is.
All right, let me ask you this. Would you play Egan? Just say yes or no. Would you play Egan over Wong?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you're off your head. Would you play Egan? Would you play Egan over Horsburgh?
No.
No.
Would you play Egan over Tommy Cant? Can't.
Oh, see, I've got this issue this week. I've got this issue.
I can't do it personally. I think I'll go for can't.
Guaranteed 80, right?
I think it's
Yeah, but
close.
didn't
If
Egan play
Egan's
middle?
starting, I could see it. Yeah.
Didn't Egan play 80 last week anyway?
Yeah,
He
pretty much.
moved in.
Yeah, 79.
You know
All
what?
right,
I
one more
feel like
for
if you've got Egan, you back him in. Yeah, I'm going him over Can't.
One more. Egan over Dewey.
No way.
Playing Para, kicking goals in the halves.
I'm just trying to think because I'm like, I don't know how that half partnership's going to work. That's the thing that scares me. Look, no, yeah, you do. You take the risk of it, I think, especially with goal kicking. You play Dewey.
One more in the comments. Boxzilla, Egan over Tamale. Playing the Titans. Tamale.
No. You
We
play
just watch clips.
Play
We just watch clips of the Titans, like left side, right side defense.
That's the thing, isn't it? Like, look at our whole. Like, you just
Yeah, I'd play Tamale.
Yeah, again, not a question to ask you. Your Tinder matches, boys. Keep it.
Yeah, no.
In the,
I will throw it to you here, though. I'll ask you a question before we wrap up. Now we've got an interesting week here. Arthurs has been named. Okay, and I think majority of people would have Arthurs and Sheba. Because I've been getting asked this quite a bit, eh? Gents, first question is it Sheba or Arthurs? Which one? Yumster? Who goes out?
I sold Arthurs a couple weeks ago, and I'm pretty happy with that decision. I think it was always my plan. I never wanted to keep him. It was always just sort of a cash grab, and then for the few good matchups. Look, Warriors in New Zealand is probably still not a bad matchup with how they're going this year. But the thing with him is you need 2 tries for him to go 60 plus. And so he doesn't really burn you unless he goes a hat trick. And then he's got the Doggies the week after. So I think this week is probably the week to jump off. If not, then definitely next week. I'm happy I sold him. I'm also most likely selling Sheba this week to get Karazin.
I can't blame you.
I think Shibasaki's actually looked pretty good in real life. And I think Madge likes him, so there's no risk of him being dropped. But yeah, I just don't think either are keepers. They're not reliable enough. And if you can get up to a Kiraz or a Farmworth, then I think it's a pretty easy decision.
Yeah, I think it's a simple one given the BEs. Look, mate, I'm happy that this is probably the last we're going to have to talk about Trapasaki this season. As many will know, I made the incredible decision not to start with him this year. We're just in complete denial. Brought him in 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks later, he's out. So,
which one goes for you this week? Is it Arthurs or Shibasaki? It's a priority.
Fuck. Shibasaki because he's more valuable. 520. I think Arthur's break even's 40 odds, so he probably just needs a double to score that.
Yeah.
Realistically, both should be gone by now. I mean,
yeah. Well, yeah, but
this week or next week, I think. Yeah.
I think the thing people are worrying about too is we're getting to our stage now where you've really got to think about how many trades you've got. You know, like I'm looking at something where I can get 3 more cheapies in. That's 6 to get out, and then I want to bring in 4 more guns. So it's quite a few trades there. I'm sure people are sort of along the same boat. Are you going Sheba? Let's say he's training us Sheba this week or off. Is he one? Are you going them up to a Kiraz or I think it's probably him or Herbie are the only CTW keepers right now you go to this week.
Or Val.
Yeah, or Val. Yeah, if you want to pop play Val, but or you going down someone like a risky Hiroti who might get.
Well, that was
2 weeks.
That was my question for you, Cheese, as a season ticket holder. And this question actually comes via Keith. How are you, Keithy? He says, "Is Hiroti a trap?"
You can't spell Hiroti without Iro. So, look, I don't know, but if you catch my drift, no. Is he a trap? He's a trap if you think you're keeping him for 3 weeks and getting more than 1 or 2 price right. That's a trap. If the way I'm looking at it, he's in my team right now. The way I'm looking at it is it gives me an extra 200k for the downgrade down to him, an extra 100k he makes. He only needs he needs a 57 to make 96k against a Knights team, which has been pretty rubbish. So, and the centers have been the ones that have been the attacking threat for the Sharks. So, yeah, look, I'm bringing him in because I know next week he's going straight up to either Lucas or Ira. He's just going straight up to a keeper. So, but I need that extra 100k to make it work. So, yeah, it depends what your definition of a trap is. And the other thing too is, we know Ira might have 1 to 2 weeks. Could be back next week. Could be back in 2 weeks. But we know the history of the hamstring hasn't been great. So how long do the Sharks go? Or we'll save you. It's Newcastle into Tigers into Eels. There's not really a cause to bring him back in a rush.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid draw. I don't know. What's interesting? Like I heard. Even Maxi Bryden, someone talking about it that Hiroti has played 90 odd games in his career and half of them being in the centers, half of them being on the wing. I mean, again, you're the Cronulla Sharks #1 season ticket holder, as we always say, because Scott Morrison is not anymore. Do you see Hiroti replacing Stone Street? Is that even the realm of possibility, or Stone Street actually been okay this year?
And give me any other coach he replaces him, but Fitzy doesn't make calls like that unless he's forced to. That unfortunately, doesn't make calls unless they're injured. He doesn't change them. Hiroti's an interesting one for me because, say for instance, and this is my thinking between bringing him in. If Tamale shits the bed again against the Titans, he's out for me. He's at 430k, essentially the same as what Hiroti, probably more than what Hiroti gets to next week, right?
Yep. I
likely just go to Marley up to Lucas or whoever I'm going up to. Hiroti's next man up for the Sharks if there's an injury in the back line. So
definitely,
I could keep him for 2 weeks, see what happens. He's sitting there about 400k. It's not great, but it's not going to kill me. I'd probably rather just sit him there as a loop option because at the moment I've got what's his name, Pacific Tonga as a loop option, and it ruins me. It ruins me with Gufferson. Gives me no loop. So I'm looking at it from that point of view. If you're looking for someone for cash gen, hold off. Get Billy Smith next week.
Yeah, I mean, Billy Smith, if Shamir gets through the week, training and whatnot, he's playable. Hiroti's base power has been in the 50s, actually, to be fair. He's been on fire. I kind of like that thing with Hiroti as well. Is he's a fringy, has to always prove himself every time he plays, going to get involved.
He's always got that chip on his shoulder. It's just, I wouldn't be keen on him. If he did, in theory, took Stoney's place, I wouldn't be keen on him in that wing. It's just the centers have been real firing for the Sharks. So I think that's where the value lies for him. Again, even if I have to keep him for 2 extra weeks, you just don't know what CTW cheapie's going to come up in 3 weeks where you go easy downgrade.
Yeah, definitely.
I think
really coming to mind.
As long as you're not buying him, expecting him to be in the team for 3 or 4 weeks. Like Cheese said, I think if you're buying him, you have to be expecting him to play against Newcastle, get his rise, and then prepare for the worst case scenario that Iro's back the next week. And I think worst case scenario, he probably makes close to 100k and is a good playable option this week, which is hardly a waste of a trade. So I can't knock anyone who does it. Personally, I'm waiting for Billy Smith next week. And I could see quite a few people jumping on this week, get his 1 week of price rises, and then go down to Billy Smith. But
that's an option as well.
Sorry, you just gave me an idea. But I was like Hiroti down to Billy Smith, and you just can't keep him there for that origin period.
Yeah. But personally, for me, I'm going up to Karaz this week. So I think if it's between going to a Karaz or a Farmworth or downgrading to Hiroti, I would rather the keeper.
Speaking of,
Reese, I'll ask you this.
Yeah,
I'm curious on this, mate. All right, you've got CTW 1 through 4 sorted. Okay, and let's say you've got a Marzu as CTW 5. Okay.
Yep.
How many CTWs are you playing a week?
Oh, I'd play Marju for sure. I mean, his base power is 50. He's averaging 61 and he's only scored 1 try. Knights aren't scoring any tries. Surely they come good with that draw. So, I'd be playing Marju in that instance. But I wouldn't
CTW fullback. So you got 2 reserves there. Is it sustainable just to have Toa and Billy Smith there, CTW, what's 5, that? 6,
5 and 6.
Yeah. Just for our origin period.
Yeah, fucking oath it is.
If you do that,
it's a great reality actually.
Yeah, you hold them, good attacking points, decent base. I mean, fuck it. You're not going to play them every week, but you can.
They'll get to 500, 550 at some point, and then they can be moved on for sure. I was looking at Aman Talk Supercoach, one of the goats in the content creation space. He put up a graphic last night of like who the top averaging players are and what positions they're in. We haven't spoken about Nico or Cleary probably for a reason tonight because there's only one halfback in that list, but everyone else, the crux of it was in, as expected, center wing and fullback. So to me, it's always like, get as many at least this year, get 3 good fullbacks in ASAP Rocky. That's the priority for me, at least. And then kind of work up the field from there, I suppose. I don't think like many of us don't have, whatever. I'm Campbell through and through, but I think, get the fullbacks in first, and then hopefully at this point we've all got at least 2 of those gun center wings, and then hopefully Wong makes you boys eat your words and is the GOAT that we make him out to be. But I agree, Tamale and whatnot, probably got to move on. One final question here comes from Frank. He says, I've been in a hunger strike since Tamale was done dirty with a try assist LBA. As a result of my hunger, I've had no energy to go to work and I've lost my job. Jeez. Can someone either get me a gig or send me a meat pie or something? Obviously, tough times have hit us all in the Tamale Truth Club. And look, if anyone wants to give Frank a gig, please hit me up and I'll hit Frank up because the bloke is struggling at the moment. Anyone have any job offerings available for my guy?
I think SuperCoach might be hiring.
The cost of living crisis is hitting us all. Definitely hitting my SuperCoach team. Best of luck.
Giannis, I'll throw to you as we wrap up, mate. Who's going to be the top scorer this week? I'll really got to do a graphic first. We got to keep track somehow.
Yeah, let me just look at the matchups real quick. It's hard for me to look past Papenhousen. Without thinking it through, I'd be going Papenhousen. There's not too many other mint matchups, I'd say. Like normally you'd say Penrith versus Roosters is a good matchup, but for now you'd say it's a good matchup for the Roosters, if anything. So for that reason, Teddy could go well. But if I'm picking one, I'm going Papenhousen.
Reece, mate, top scorer.
Terrell May's due a try, boys. It's going to be Easter Monday. It's going to be hot. He's going to be juicy. He's going to be tight. He's going to send us progress picks. Play 65 through the middle against the midgets in the Parramatta pack. You got Kelmatua Lungy on the edge. I think May does something there, even though May's a middle. That doesn't make any sense. But
he wonders that.
May's due a try. I also love Carraz on Good Friday, man. I've got the VC on him right now. I think, that right side, just different combinations at South. I think Cody Walker's back, is he? No. Yes? Maybe.
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah.
He's been named.
Hey, Cody Walker's been pedestrian as fuck in defence this year. He's been exposed a few times on that left side, which is the right side of the Dogs. Yeah, can see Carraz on the Good Friday vibes. I believe he's also a devout Christian gentleman. Something in that for sure. VC Carraz C May for me, lads. Papenhousen's there, but yeah, for some reason I don't want to put anything on him. What do you reckon, Chase?
I'm going Katoa. I think we see
Sione?
Katoa. Yeah, no.
No.
Alessi. A good
Yes.
Katoa.
Isaiah.
Yeah. Oh,
IK, like an Indian kebab.
Yeah. No, I'm going Eli Katoa. I think he just carves up that left edge of Dolphins this week. He's looked dangerous every week. He has to explode one of these weeks, you'd think.
Mate, if he explodes, then Cheese, you'll be exploding in your
I'll
ducks.
be exploding. Yeah, will be. Anyway, gents, thank you both for joining me on this fine evening. And as always, please make sure you don't bag your coach. But, Youngstar, how do you feel with the debut, mate? Got some solid meters into you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. I hope I didn't
Play
let
the
the
ball
boys
speed.
down.
Yeah. Average of 2.8.
Played the 400 minutes. So yeah, it was. Thanks for having me on, guys. It was a pleasure.
Good to have you, mate. Hopefully you're back on soon. Reese, my friend, hopefully you're back on a rocket ship up like Katy Perry. And hopefully last a bit longer, mate.
Do you ever feel like a plastic bag floating through the wind, wishing to start again? Yes, I do. Listen, 6 rounds in, the hat's been on all week, but like The Undertaker, I look forward to doing this on the weekend. And rising again. May 36K rest in peace.
Oh, mate, and
Jeez.
like that, we're
God bless you,
gonna act like Shawn Michaels and we're gonna retire at a loss. Enjoy your weekend, everyone.